Okay. Are you still here, Turtle? Hey, what up, 71? I am trying to figure out how to mod people. Okay. uh, hey, Grace. What's up, girl? I am trying to get this. Be patient. Okay, sorry guys. Can you hear me well? Put a 1 in chat if you can hear me. Yeah, I had it muted. Okay. Does it sound good? Nice and clear? Sorry, y'all. Okay, I'm trying to... I know I should have came on a few minutes earlier than that, but... Okay. So, today's topic obviously is the Amityville horror, the DeFeo family murders. And they have tons of documentaries out. And if you are a child that was exposed to this or any of this, watching Amityville when you grew up, y'all know what I'm talking about. There were so many different things surrounding the case itself that we generally didn't hear. We just, we didn't know about it till the book came out or the movie came out, the original movie in was it 78 or something like that? Um, for those who don't know about it, it was a case of family annihilation, basically, where Ronnie DeFeo Jr., or Butch as they called him, because the dad went by Ronnie Sr., killed his entire family with a .35 Marlin rifle in the early morning hours of November 12th, 13th, overnight. Is everybody familiar with this case? Put a 1 in chat if you are. Oh, you only know the documentaries, Mo? Yeah. I think I went to see the movie when I was 6. Didn't have a choice. Because we had one movie theater in town and it only played one movie at a time for 3 weeks. Yeah, Kim, you're like me. I've seen it 100 times. Yeah, I was into spooky movies. I can remember that. I remember wanting to go see It's Alive. Do you remember that one? 71? About the little mutant babies that were crawling around killing people. It's Alive. And Phantasm and all those things back in the 70s. Well, they really played this up with this family annihilation. Ooh, I've never seen Burnt Offerings. I'm going to have to see that. They really played it up. And from everything that I have seen through documentaries, through books, everything, after the murders, there was basically a family that came forward and bought the house at a highly discounted price. Couldn't pass it up. Um, and it was the Lutz family, and it was kind of a blended family. Basically, they came forward, George and Kathy Lutz, and they bought the house, and they moved in December of 70, was it 75, I think? And they were out by January of 76. They lasted 28 days in the house. Supposedly, all sorts of activity happened, and you fall asleep to murder podcast. Okay, supposedly leading up to this, if you go by all his accounts, both parents were involved in, well, not parents, should I say, both sets of grandparents were heavily involved in the crime families. The I think it was the DeFeos were into the Genovese, and the other side of the family was connected directly to the Gambinos. So both sides of his family were involved heavily in the mob. Okay. So he was doing little errands here and there, even as a teenager. And his dad worked for his grandfather, Mike Briganti, in a Buick dealership in Brooklyn. Okay. And he ran the parts department, or he was the general manager over everything. And he did the books. And his job was to cook the books. Okay. Ronnie Sr. cooked the books, and he kept dual sets. Well, he not only kept dual sets, but he was also skimming. So he was skimming money from the mob itself. And they were supposed to get a kickback here and there. Anyway, they also ran stolen parts too. Like he was stealing cars as a kid, he said that, and bringing them there, and they shopped it. If you had a fender missing, they'd bring you a whole car and they'd chop it and sell the parts. So they were making money that way too. Okay. And there was, I think he said, estimated 40 chop shops around the area that he knew of. Okay. He also would run errands for his grandfather. And it got to a point where his dad was really abusive from get-go, from day one, and very controlling of his family. He had run off or moved out several times, and his dad kept bringing him back. Now, Mo. Yep, heavily tied. His maternal grandfather, Louise is his mother. Her dad is Mike Brigani, and he's the one that owned the Buick dealership that his dad, Ronnie Sr., worked at. And there was a kickback. Yep. There was a kickback that they got or whatever. Anyway, his dad was supposed to do this. And anyway, they were hiding money in the basement of that house and the extra set of books. So according to him, the night the murders occurred, during all the cleanup and everything, he had to burn those books. And that's why there was a lot of missing time here and there. And there was actually a mob hit put out because there were break-ins to the car dealership. They actually got robbed several times. And they were going to trade over to, they were going to stop selling Buicks and go to Cadillac Chevy. So there's a whole bunch of things that were going on, power play dynamics and stuff as far as that goes. His father basically told him in November, the beginning, mid-November, before this happened, that he wanted Butch, or Ronnie Jr., to take out his grandfather, because it was either his grandfather or his dad. And he refused to do it because he loved his grandfather. So there was power play going there. There was a lot of, like I said, abuse between the family members. Rumors of drugs. And he admitted to his drug use. His sister was into drugs and wanted to get away too. So that was part of the dynamic. There was even cases of, or instances where his sister was like his dad and would just pick on everybody and chase the dad around the house with a butcher knife. And he goes, which didn't make any sense because his dad should have been able to just take it away. But he was toying with the sister, Dawn, the oldest sister. So she had her own rage issues. So a lot of dysfunction in the family. Now, he gave several accounts of what happened that night. Yeah, he told 7 or 8 different stories. So it's kind of hard to decipher which is truth and which is fiction, but I think that somewhere it lays between. What he has been consistent with is he's always said that in all the stories he tells throughout the years, he always implicates his sister here and there. Whether that's true or not, it would make sense, because how else are you going to control that many people? And they're going to be found laying on their stomachs. The substances, according to him, his sister was into, she smoked a lot of weed, but she also got into other things. It didn't go, from what I saw, it didn't go into detail about everything she was into. But I think shrooms were involved, stuff like that. He was actually in, his is mostly alcohol, and he said heroin towards the end. He said that he was drinking a bottle of scotch a day, and he was a regular heroin user. Other thing, that the kid was getting $500 a week even when he wasn't working. His dad gave him an allowance of $500 a week. That is a lot of money back in 1974. And he started getting that allowance when he was like in the 1970. His dad was giving him that money. So that's a lot of moolah. Scroll up and get the link where you can just talk over here.
Do what?
Okay. Anyway, so he talks about that. If you ever watch any of his interviews or anything, he's pretty open with and consistent with the background of what his dad did for a living, and the abuse. Yeah, I was lucky to get $2 a week in 1985 for an allowance. But $500 a week? Oh, yeah. That's some serious scratch. So leading up to it, there was a lot of stuff going on. He was implicated in a robbery that happened at the dealership in November, because he was supposed to, at the beginning of November, I think he said like the 3rd of November, 1st or 3rd of November, or something like that, of 74. He said he went to go do a money drop and somebody robbed him. And it was a money drop for the mom, their take. And he went back to tell his grandfather. Anyway, supposedly they put a hit on that was supposed to be carried out the day after Thanksgiving. Now, he supposedly heard that from another friend of his. Whether that's true or not, who knows with him. He was known for doing a lot of storytelling. His mom was severely abused. She actually left their dad once in the in the 60s, because his parents were married for like 23, 24 years, something like that. And she left him in like 60 something, when he was like 11. His mom grabbed him and his sister and just left, because it was just him and his sister at that point, Dawn. And supposedly his dad wrote a song that was actually published. Huh?
The sister Dawn wrote the song.
No, she wrote a different song. Okay. He wrote a song that was sang by a singer in the 60s, dedicated to her, and she went back to him. That was before they even got the house or had the younger 3 kids. Yeah, his sister did rewrite lyrics to The Night Chicago Died. But that's also speculatory. Because that was brought up by someone who came in later. There's a woman who came forward in 2000 and said that she was married to him in the 70s before the annihilation of his family and had a kid with him. But from all the research I did, the woman was named Geraldine, was not married to him at that time, didn't even know him, and was actually married to another man named Joseph Passante. So she basically came to him later, came in the story later, this Geraldine did. So when they went to court, well, when he got arrested for the annihilation, his story was originally when he went into the bar that night, he yelled that his parents had been murdered. Now, he didn't say anything about his siblings. He said his parents had been murdered or shot or something like that when he ran in. And that's when everybody went to the scene and they found the kids too. By his accounts, he says that he remembers everything going down at 5 till midnight, that he went upstairs. Most of his accounts say that he would talk about this with his sister. He also says that it was pre-planned with his grandfather, because his dad was skimming money and somebody had to pay. But his grandfather had told him that you can't do it in Suffolk County, because if you do it in Suffolk County, I can't help you. He said because they had a whole bunch of people on the payroll, the mafia did, and they could get him off any charges anywhere else but Suffolk County. The mom was totally abused, Mo. They said she wore long sleeves in the summer, but all the kids were abused too. And they even have an account of him being an adult sitting at a dining room table. He dropped his napkin. He scooted his chair back to pick up the napkin, and his dad asked him, "Hey, who said you could be excused from the table?" And he goes, "I just, I'm not leaving the table. I'm just picking up my napkin." And he grabbed him by the throat and shoved him against the wall and beat the hell out of him. Then they went back to eating dinner as usual. So that's what this family had to put up with. According to neighbors, there was always screaming going on. There was always carrying on. The mom was always drinking. I actually have a neighbor who lives across the street from me right now, who lived down the street from them then. Said that the family was always hollering, and it was a quiet neighborhood. And that he was a little bit younger than both the neighbor I have now. He was like 17 when this all happened. And he said that Butch was a cool guy. He said he was a fun, nice guy until he drank. And that's pretty much everybody said that he was okay. He said his sister was, she was just totally off her, totally crackers, is what he said. He goes, Dawn was crackers, though. And he goes, and she'd punch you in a heartbeat. So they didn't like her too much. Wow. Yeah, it's a gorgeous house. It really is. Anyway, originally I would say he gave several different accounts of what happened that night. But what you have to figure in is, how did one person with a 35 Marlin, right, control 6 people, and they're all laying on their stomachs when they're found? Not everybody's going to sleep on their stomach, By most of his accounts, his parents had been arguing earlier, and he had overheard. Now, he had overheard his mom and dad arguing, and it was basically his dad saying, you got to take him out, like, because of all this money disappearing and stuff that he owed the mob. His dad was going to get caught, but if he pinned it on Ronnie, he wouldn't get caught, you see. So that's the self-defense part of it that he was talking about. Does any of this make sense? Oh, yeah, when they changed it from 112 Ocean View, or is it Ocean View or Ocean Drive, something like that? 71, you don't need a mafia family. You are a mafia boss. Anyway, according to him, for most of his accounts, he says his sister did help, and that would make sense, considering how you're going to control that many people. You know, how are you going to move the bodies? The guy was he was an admitted heroin addict. How is he going to pick up a body? His dad weighed like 270 pounds, and he weighed like 160. So, and his sister was a big girl. Another thing is when they did the autopsies on all of them, his sister died hours after everybody else did. His oldest, or the oldest sister, Dawn. They said that all the other bodies were in a total state, like had already started coming out of her or whatever, and she wasn't. Plus, they found gunpowder on her that was clean gunpowder. It wasn't diffused or shot through a gun, which is the possibility that she obviously shot a weapon. But when they first showed up to the scene and everything and started investigating it, he told them it was a mob hit. And for probably to cover his ass, cover whatever. And a lot of people knew they had those connections, so it wouldn't be a far cry in his mind. But when his paternal grandfather showed up at the scene, he said, "There's no way this is a mob hit. We don't touch women and children. You know, we don't off kids." So right there gave it away. Anyway, a lot of his accounts, he'd always go back to his sister. Whether it be his sister shot his parents or he shot his parents, she handed him the gun. He would always say that she kept the other kids in their rooms because their rooms were right next to each other. The younger sister, Allison, was in one, and Mark and John were in the other room, and she told them to stay in bed or she would beat their asses. So that would make sense why it would be able to be done that way. He said in most of his statements, he kept coming back to that he left the house for a while and said, get them packed up and take them to the grandparents' house while I figure out how to cover this. And he went driving around for a bit and came back, and supposedly she had shot the younger kids. But whether that's true or not, I don't know. We weren't there, so it's a possibility. For some reason, she really hated the younger sister. And, well, couldn't have the others being witnesses. But he said he came back and they were shot. So he went up, and when he came in the room, came up to the third floor, the Marlin was on the floor. He practically tripped over it. They fought for a while, and the police did find signs of struggle in her room, and that was the only room that they found signs of struggle. But we'll never actually know. But when they arrested him and everything, they kept him in protective custody at first. Then they questioned him. There's a whole bunch of back and forth about that. Either way, he goes to court, yada, yada, yada. He goes through 3 lawyers before he even gets to preliminaries. And a lot of the evidence and stuff got thrown out. So before he even got there, not evidence against him, but evidence that would have helped him. Now, they said a rifle was used, but also he swore up and down there was also a handgun used. And when they went to find the rifle and all the other stuff that he told them, like there was rags for cleanup, there was his clothes hidden in a gutter. The rifle was thrown off a certain pier. He said the handgun was thrown off a different pier or a different dock. And they never really looked for that. But in 2012, I think they went and a dive team found it. But it was already a solved case. They didn't get into it. By the time he got to the 3rd lawyer, it was William, what was his name? Weber, that's it. William Weber. And Weber had never worked a murder case, not alone a mass murder case like this. He said he had won like some trivial corporate case or something like that. And he was put on the case because the judge at the time called in a favor. And the judge, Weber was actually his campaign manager. So the judge had to recuse himself. And they got a new judge, a harsher judge. Any questions so far? Okay, so they get up there, and during this, Weber, during the questioning and everything, some of the police thought, hey, there's a possibility that somebody else was involved in this. But they swept that under the rug and everything because they got him to confess. According to him, it was a forced confession, but the new judge ruled that out. Didn't believe him, did it? But this is the 70s, Suffolk County, New York. Come on. Little police brutality, probably, but Weber came up with the insanity plea idea. Well, how else explain it? The guy's done drugs. She's got an alcohol problem. Let's go with temporary insanity or whatever. Now, it was said by Weber and Butch DeFeo that was the time that Lutz's approached Weber with this idea for doing some type of book deal, or they believed that house was probably haunted. And they wanted to go in there and prove it. And if they could prove it, they could get a book deal. Now, the reason they came up with this idea was because this is hot on the heels of the, this is 75, hot on the heels of The Exorcist. That book came out. And they made a movie out of it and lots of money. Now, I mean, this is according to the attorney and Butch DeFeo. They approached them with this. They could make money off this case doing this and also help him with an insanity plea by saying the place was haunted and coming up with a
Good girl.
saying the place was haunted and coming up with all sorts of things. And they even went back and talked to they even went back and interviewed the priest, and the priest said, none of that stuff happened. I didn't say any of this stuff. The priest that went through to bless the house said that was fabricated. But then again, that's why we got to figure out whether it's hoax or not. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Payoffs. Big time. According to him in a couple of interviews, according to Butch DeFeo, his cut was supposed to be $850,000. That's not even Weber's cut. But he said once all was said and done, they went through this case and he lost the case. You can't hear me? Okay. So he said once he lost the case and everything, and during the appeals and everything, they came up with this haunting side of it. And the whole cat in the wind, or the whole pig with the glowing eyes and everything that supposedly Lex's daughter Missy saw in the window. Well, the neighbors would all tell you that there was a cat. And Butch DeFeo said it too. There was a cat that used to come up on the roof and just look in the windows. And he hated that cat and called him a fat pig. Called the cat a fat pig. If you talk to anybody in that neighborhood, they'll tell you there's nothing going on there. The interesting thing is, now, where the Warrens come in is, I think Weber went to them, or somebody called them and told them it was, a local TV host called them and told them about it. And they went in, and she said, the TV host said, I didn't see or hear any of this. And she was in there. She goes, but all the other people there, the cameraman and the Warrens, and there was a couple of other psychics, all were seeing things and hearing things. And she goes, but I didn't hear, see, or anything happen. And that was in 76 when they came in and documented stuff. In 1977, Hans Holzer, isn't that his name? Holzer? He's another paranormal expert who actually, I hate to say, is more credible.
Did you get it? No. Good girl. They're not hurting you.
He came in 1977 with a physical psychic medium, and she claimed there was nothing there except for a Native American spirit. And then he ended up getting chased off. Yeah, see, and that's what Mr. G is going to talk about. He's going to talk about the paranormal aspects of it. But as far as what happened to the Lutz, people do not realize that Danny Lutz Danny, the son, the one who supposedly got his hand smashed, in the movie and in the book, they talked about how, he got his hand all messed up and they had to take him to the hospital. There was no hospital records. And George Lutz actually admitted they never took him to the hospital. They just wrapped his hand up. And the window that was opening and closing, they were talking about, they debunked that too, because there was a certain floorboard that if you walked across it, the window would just go open or shut with your movement due to the counterweights in the window. So it was nothing paranormal. That wasn't. The flies, they said there's an explanation for the flies. It was because the murders happened. They were there. The bodies were there for hours before being discovered. Crime scene cleanup hadn't happened for a while yet, and the house was closed up for months and months. Of course, you're going to get some fly activity from whatever didn't get cleaned up. There's no poltergeist or demonic activity there. Like they tried to make it out. If you're going to be in a home that such tragic events happened in such a short span like that, it is going to leave an impression. I'm sure it will. There's no way it's not going to leave an impression. But if there's spirits of the family there, they're not going to be violent, Well, I don't know. Maybe the dad's spirit would be a little violent. But they're going to leave a residual or something. There's going to be an impression there. You might even hear gunshots in the middle of the night, sleeping in a house like that. But demonic, the other thing you got to think of is, as far as that goes, wouldn't it be interesting to think about how many natives were killed on that land before, way before any of this ever happened? But I think that one picture, I think that one ghost picture was real with the kid, because it looked too much like, I want to say the youngest Johnny or John, because it's like it went Butch, Dawn, who was 18, Allison was 13, Mark was 12, and John was 9. And I think it was him. That they caught photos of. Pictures everywhere. Yeah. That picture circulates everywhere because it is a good picture.
Take it around the door frame. You're fine, Bubba.
Looking at or standing in the door frame, kind of. Yeah, I've seen it several times, and I've seen close-ups done of it where they pulled into it, and like that was done. That picture was actually caught when the Warrens went through. But I don't think they caught anything on film when Holzer went through.
That's the only thing that's ever been caught on.
Yeah. That is the only thing that's been physically caught. Everybody's seen that picture. It's a good one. You'd be surprised at what 71 knows, Irvin. Anyway, that they didn't discuss is when you talk to Danny Lutz, he says they were into some shady stuff too. His stepdad and his mom, and he also said that, well, when I say shady, they were in a little bit of drugs, and that George was into paranormal stuff. They were both into it. So he thinks that some of the stuff that happened was exasperated by George Lutz messing with stuff, like performing things in the house. And that might explain why a lot of people that moved in after that didn't have issues. It was issues that he brought in or took with him. But I am going to let Mr. G take over for a little bit on the paranormal side of it. That sound good, kiddos? He gonna take over in a minute after he get him some coffee.
Did you get him? Good girl. Why is there dog food in the cat bowls? Where's brother?
Anything else? While I'm waiting for him to get his coffee and everything, I'll talk about this Geraldine gal. Anyway, 1985, I guess, this, goodness, what was her last name? It doesn't matter. And Gates, this Geraldine Gates showed up and got in contact with Butch DeFeo in prison. befriended him, all that, we've seen this before, the fangirls. And they concocted this whole let's get him out scenario. And so she started telling people that she was married to him prior, and that the mob wiped her record, got rid of their marriage certificate and all that, and hid her and their daughter. But if you look into records, she was married at the time, and the daughter was born a year after that marriage in August of 74. She was married in August of 73, I think, or 72, August of 72. And this girl, plus the woman stated three different things. Like she met him in a bar in 73. Then she met him in a bar in 1971. Then she met him in a bar in 1969. So she had several stories, but she had, somebody tracked that she had marriage records and the birth certificate of the child to her first husband. And she was married to him, and then she divorced him, and she was married to this Gates from 1978 till I don't know when. But she did end up marrying Butch DeFeo in 1989. And they came up with a lot of stuff after that. Then there was letters from Hans Holzer where she had approached him in 1998 about money for information. And she wanted money for being Butch DeFeo's wife, to give him a story. And he said, I'll pass. He might have throughout the time. I know that he got married, got divorced, got married, divorced.
All right, I think I'm ready.
Okay, we're going.
Okay, guys. I'm trying to think of where I want to start with this. Ginger asked me to talk a little bit about the paranormal stuff that goes on in the house. For those of you that have kind of, for lack of a better term, followed this case, well, let me ask you something. Ask you guys a question. One of the stories that's been told is that he saw shadow figures, for lack of a better term, demons, whatever in the house. But my question is, why wasn't any of it reported by anybody else before they moved in the house? Meaning before the Butch and that family moved into the house. If you go back, it was never ever reported until the murders. Then the Lutzes got involved, and the Warrens got involved. So that's one thing that I find funny. One of the first of all, the movie's bullshit. Um, if you've watched any of the live streams with Ginger and I that I've done, the Warrens, I shouldn't say that.
Lorraine's legit.
Mrs. Warren was a medium. She had gifts. The entire Amityville horror was a fabrication by all parties involved for money. And it worked. They're
still making money.
They're still making money on it, exactly. The murders were there was actually 3 people involved. There was Butch, Don, and the friend's name, which escapes me.
Was it Mark? No.
Because there is absolutely no way. I shouldn't say no way because it is possible. 160-pound, 170-pound man is going to drag a 270-pound person into a bed. It's possible. But I'll let Ginger talk about all that. That's just. But I will tell you that there was 3 people involved. As far as the paranormal stuff, what's there now? Somebody asked earlier, is a residual. It's not haunted to the extreme that the movies and people were led on. The Lutzes spent 20-something days there, 30-something days, or whatever. Other families have bought the house and lived there with nothing. You guys were talking about the picture a little bit ago. That's the youngest son. That's
John.
Johnny. They I kind of misspoke earlier. It's really not a residual haunting in that aspect because the kids are still there, but they're not there all the time. They kind of pop in and out. The clairvoyants that have been there, it's really funny that they don't pick up on the dad. No one wants to talk about what really happened. I would love to be in that house, to tell you the truth. I'd like to take a bunch of people there. just to see what happens when I show up. From what I gather, is that Don shot the dad. The dad was the first one shot in the bed because Junior didn't have the balls to do it. The mom woke up and she was shot in the bed. She was shot twice in the bed. One of the younger kids got up and started opening their door, and Don told them that they needed to keep their quote unquote effing ass in bed, or she was going to beat him to death. At some point, the dad got up and was shot by the third party. Now, the third party, I don't know who it was. There's several different supposeds, for lack of a better term, of who it actually was. It was one of Ronnie Jr.'s friends. It was Don's boyfriend. That part is unclear, but it was the third party that shot the dad the second time. At that point, the friend ran out of the house with the firearm, with the gun, with the pistol. But the second shot in the dad was with a pistol, most likely a .38 caliber.
And ballistic shows that.
Yeah, the ballistic shows that is that there was two different rounds. One was found in the dad, the other one was found underneath the dad. In trying to figure out what they're going to do, Ronnie Jr. left the house with Don in the house. Couldn't find the friend or whatever to help him to clean stuff up or whatever. Came back and found Don in her bedroom. To take a step back in this whole timeline, while Ronnie's gone, Don, who was supposed to take the children to the grandpas or the grandparents or wherever, Don decided that she didn't want to be bound to all that.
Worry about witnesses.
Yeah, because they would be witnesses of what quote unquote witnesses to what happened. So during the time Ronnie's gone, she kills the kids. What?
Are those yours?
She kills the other three kids. Ronnie comes back, finds out that she's killed everybody else. They get into a physical altercation, and he shoots her. Ronnie went through the house and put everybody on their stomach because he couldn't look at their face. He couldn't handle it.
And wiped it up.
He, cleaned everything up, got the dad back on the bed with the help of a friend, burned the ledgers, dug up the money in the basement.
Went to work.
And went to work, and then someone said about the bar scene. The bar scene was a setup. However, the friend, which I don't understand this, did not know about the kids being killed. Um, that all doesn't make sense to what I've looked into. Is that the friend did not know um, about the younger kids being killed. Um, the only story that is consistent with DeFeo is that he did kill um, Don. There's at last count 6 or 7 different stories that have come out.
It always circles back to that.
As far as paranormal, that's the way it happened. The way I just told you, and that came from the kids. They heard 3 gunshots. Don told them to stay in their room. A while later, the bedroom doors were open. The Allison was shot first. The boys heard it. The boys woke up and were shot sitting on the edge of their beds. In real quick, like one was shot. All they're just flashes. It's not like it's I've got it detailed from the kids. There's flashes of noise.
And light.
Yeah, and flashes of light. That's the paranormal part. As far as there being a demonic
influence
on that house, no. 71 is exactly right. The pig and the cat and the figure, he was high. I believe he was. This was obviously planned, but I believe it was planned by Dawn. She was the more aggressive, or she is the most more aggressive person in this story. And she still is. She's still. She's the one that's there the most, but she's up in the bedroom where she was killed. But even as aggressive as she is, she's not demonic. She's not quote unquote evil. That's just she had a lot of issues with her dad, who was abusive. The dad is a strong presence in that house because he had that personality. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Lutzes. That's more Jennifer's or Ginger's, sorry, deal with the history. But it was fabricated. They were all in on it, and that was fabricated in jail when Ronnie had already been arrested and charged. It came about. The Lutzes knew the DeFeos. They knew Ronnie. They did there was a lot of drugs done, and this was all a matter of making money. The aftermath. Ed and Lorraine Warren were just coming off the Enfield haunting. If you know about that, that's a good one to look up too.
Oh, yeah.
Cigarette. That's another one that we can cover at another time. That's a real haunting, by the way, if you don't know what that one is.
Oh, my, yeah.
That is a whole other ball of wax. No, it wasn't. The hit on Butch was real.
Yeah.
Because the grandfather told him to take care of Ron, because
Somebody had to go down.
the grandpa figured out that he was stealing. And I don't recall exactly how he found out, but he did find out. And there was a hit put out on Ron Sr. But they were told, those that were involved in that were told to do it in Brooklyn at his girlfriend's house, not at the house. Don and Ron Sr. had fought for like 4 or 5 days before the killings. So she was the mastermind. The mafia hit was not supposed to be done at the house. They were supposed to kill Ron at his girlfriend's house. And that was leaked by an associate of the grandfather.
80s.
Yeah, 10 years after it all happened, is that there was a hit out on Ron Sr. from the Genoveses, I believe, was who put it out. And that was put out above the grandfather's level.
Yeah.
So in that way, yeah, I guess mafia was involved. But as far as the actual killings, the murders, no, they were not.
If they would have waited it out a couple of weeks, the mom would have taken care of it.
One of the popular stories is that Grandpa told Ronnie Jr., excuse me, and another person, I can't think of his name, who worked there at the dealership with them, that they were to be part of it somehow. That he was to be part of the, or he knew about it, excuse me. He knew about, Ronnie Jr. knew about the hit being on his dad. And that was one of the conversations that he had with Dawn, is that if she would just buy her time, that it'd be taken care of. She couldn't wait.
But she had just gotten into it with them that night.
I think I covered everything from my point. I don't know what else you want me to go over with them. I mean, do you guys have any questions that involve the paranormal? Because that's more my expertise. The history, I'm not very good at, because history lies.
Spirits don't.
That's exactly right. History lies, spirits don't. History is written by those that won. Yeah, the dad was.
Oh, he was
He's an asshole. Excuse my language. I'm taking pills.
Oh, he was a winner.
There has been several paranormal groups in the house. They get EVPs. I'm trying to think who it was that caught a quote unquote shadow figure on the stairs. or at the top of the stairs or something like that?
Yes,
Yes, the kids did.
Danny did. Danny came forward.
Yeah, was it Danny that came forward and was like, "What the hell?"
Well, he came out in the 80s and said it was a hoax. Then he said there was a few things that happened.
Yeah.
And he said it was because they messed with paranormal shit in the basement.
Yeah.
They did a pentagram in the basement and some other shit.
Trying to think of who it was. I don't know if you guys heard her. Yeah, Danny Lutz came forward and basically said it was all BS. As far as the blood on the walls, the stuff being thrown,
Voices.
the voices, the Lutzes, and those of you that have been around know how I feel about uh, Ouija boards. I love to play with them. I don't recommend anybody else do it. I'm trying to read here without my glasses on. But yeah, Danny Lutz came forward and basically said, "Oh, it's all fake."
He said they were toying with.
What the heck is this? Hey, good news, guys. My package is on the way. I have no idea what it is, but I got a package coming.
In your experience, black mass shadow diggers that are visible ghosts, or what are they?
I actually have a couple different theories about that. I think they're possibly a couple different things. Yes, Mo, they opened the door. I think that they are possibly from another dimension. I believe they're from another time. And I also believe that they could be spirits, so-called spirits. And something you guys should go look at is the Ghost of Carmel, Maine. If you're interested in shadow figures, that gentleman catches some stuff in that house that is truly paranormal. It's not evil. Do you believe they can predetermine someone dying? No, I don't. I believe there are things that can. As far as, they don't predetermine someone dying. They
Harbinger.
Yeah, harbingers, I guess, is a good term. Crows, mob of crows.
Murder of crows.
That's it, murder of crows. Swarms of butterflies, and all that kind of stuff.
I've seen it a lot. Cancer. Some dark shadows.
There are things that I don't know if they're harbingers, but there's been documented where patients in hospitals or nursing homes, a lot of those people that are at that stage in their life, they have cameras now, and there's been footage of them being of things being caught on camera around them when they pass. Whether they're shadow figures, I don't know. All the ones that I have seen are formless. You might see an arm or a head, but as far as a full body, fully formed shadow figure, no. They're often called demons. They're often called the Grim Reaper. the Reaper, stuff like that.
Watchers.
Be cool to see who's all in here. Just for your analytics. Portals are fun. How do you know there's portals? Well, that's cool. Your turtle friend went live and forgot you were live.
I'll live. It's all good.
I could talk about whatever you guys want. Till I get too tired, then it'll be over with real quick. So you have gifts then, 71?
Mm-hmm. She looks dark like you.
There ain't nobody dark like me. Yeah, because you're the one that sounds like Alvin. From Alvin and the Chipmunks. Well, thanks, Grace. How do you give out wrenches, Turtle? You're smart, I understand.
Yes.
That's awesome. So your whole family's gifted then.
Yes. She's multi-generational like us.
That means I can mess with you.
Nope. Don't know how to do it.
Nope. She says nope. Yeah, I found out about the live about 3:54 today. No, you won't like when I mess with you.
She might. No. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do it from my phone.
Yeah, this is kind of a learning experience for us guys. Yeah, reality. She's the smart one. I'm the one that, well, I'm here.
I need. There we go.
There we go. We figured it out. Just don't block me. I'll have to send you evil stuff. I actually had to. Why is 71 modded? I don't know.
Why not?
I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. with no glasses on. So kind of a premonition, Mo? I do believe in those. I see weird things, though, like grocery store shopping trips. She's afraid to give me one of them wrenches because I block everybody. Just talk to myself for hours. I do that anyway. Sometimes I need good advice.
And who gives better advice than yourself?
That's right. I know everything. Yeah, exactly, Mo. Exactly. That's cool, 71. Do you talk to him when you're quote unquote in real life? I think Ginger wants to set it up one day so I can show you guys things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Turtle, we have discussed that we're on another topic here. Pay attention.
Keep up. Okay.
Okay. But that's common. That's common.
She's like me in that aspect.
Me too, Mr. Turtle. All the time. I see them, I hear them.
It's annoying in public, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Okay, ban him. How do I do that? I'm blocking him. He called me a douche.
You can't.
I can too. So it's right here, block.
Don't you block my turtle. He jokes around a lot.
I can't figure out how to do it. You're lucky.
Now it looks like we have a sea of blue,
No,
but that's only because I have 4 people.
Schizophrenic? No, not. I'm just very, very gifted. People talk about being black and white and all this kind of stuff. I'm kind of gray. I'm trying to be purple, but they won't let me. Yes.
Yes. Mo, I'm on the same page as him with the 3 perpetrators. Because it explains how the bodies were positioned.
Ow. Here.
Hold on. Just...
Right? I wonder how come you all got like wrenches and I don't.
Because you're not in the chat.
I am too.
Are you?
Well, I was.
You have to actually, yeah. You're so far up in the chat.
She don't want to let me have a wrench anyway.
I would.
With actual topics, quite a bit. We like to do the research and stuff, you know.
We like to do that too.
Pick a topic, and what we thought about is letting you guys pick a topic, and we would do the research on it and stuff like that. And I would do the research for the paranormal. No, the dad was shot in the bed, that then didn't die and got up to come out into the hallway. I'll have Ginger put a couple of links up to a couple documentaries. Just take what you want from them. But there's blood spatter in the hallway that the police tried to hide.
Yep. ballistics report they buried.
Oh, I don't want a wrench. I'm just kidding with you. I was joking with her. I don't exactly 71. The door frame, the painting has blood on it, one of the paintings. The door, and I believe a wall was the other one that the police never photographed, but the coroner photographed. Yep.
Turtle. I know what he's talking about. This chick has her husband as a mod, and he's a terror. You're nothing like that.
Don't say nothing bad by chat or I'll block you. Whatever. Everybody's got to have an opinion. If it gets abusive, I'll end the damn chat. I don't care.
Yeah, that's why I think there's 3 people that lifted the dad, because he was 270 dead weight.
That's possible. That's very possible. But I know there was at least 2 people involved. Dawn admits that she helped move him. Or no, Dawn admits that there was 2 people that moved him.
Yeah, and they cleaned up the blood on the wall, on the door during the...
There was smears.
Yep. There was spatter there and drips, and the police got rid of it and buried the pictures of it.
Yeah, as big as he was, I would say there was I think all 3 of them were involved. Dawn, Butch, and the friend were involved.
They say there was a 4th friend lookout.
But that's not fact, so I don't, hold to that.
Dead weight.
Well, on November 12th, 13th, 74 or 73?
74.
Ronnie Butch DeFeo Jr. Supposedly killed his entire family.
In Amityville. 112 Ocean Drive.
How did he ever get the others?
Oh. Well, his sister being an accomplice, I think he got her pretty good. The police didn't have to get her. But they supposedly interviewed
Bobby was the friend's name.
That's right. Bobby was the friend's name.
Butch was 23,
3.
and Don was just 18. Had just turned 18. And like I said, Don was definitely involved with it because what happened?
I don't know. Let's see.
He must have banned somebody or something.
Oh, Turtle, what did you do? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please say that again?
Uh-oh.
Oh, he put Grace in timeout.
You're all worried about me.
Could you try again?
Stop. Ugh. Turtle timed up Grace on accident.
Okay. Do you guys have any more paranormal questions for me? I got to get something to eat and I'll let her take over.
Okay, so now I have 5 moderators. That's plenty. Based on true events, maybe next time.
Exorcist.
Yeah.
is based on
13-year-old boy.
true events. The Conjuring series, Annabelle,
Anfield.
The Infield. The Infield is not really a good movie on, but there's a lot of documentary stuff about it. If you guys want to talk about, it depends on what you guys want to talk about. I'll talk about anything. I don't care. Yeah, I'd love to go to Bobby and Mackey's to see what's actually there. Just because there's been too many people have too many experiences there,
For it not to be.
and all kind of along the same lines. Followers. The caretaker's still there. If you want to know that.
That Joanna or whatever.
The girl in the well. Yep.
Johanna, whatever her name was.
Okay, I'm going to pass you guys back over to Ginger. If you have any questions that she can't answer, just I don't know.
I'll get them.
I can look it up. I bet he has some stories to tell. Who?
Reality bites you. She's never been around any of the paranormals we did.
Yeah, that's where somebody got punched in the men's bathroom. But we can talk about reality shows if you want. I'll tell you my opinion of those.
The Undertaker.
Huh?
Like the wrestler?
No.
Turtle.
Sure thing, Alvin. Old guy's got to get something to eat and lay down.
I miss Ginger. Oh. My poor little pet turtle. He's my little turtle. He changes his voice sometimes. Oh. He already went back, but yeah, I think he was possessed. Carl, the caretaker. Definitely. I mean, at least from what I've seen. Because I've actually seen possession. 3 different times. I do know that there's some, like how the Catholic Church does exorcisms. There's some churches that do liberations. And I've actually seen those, one of those before. But there is a difference when someone is possessed and when their whole demeanor changes, their voice changes, their hair just sticks up on end. You know they're possessed. Like just like their hair goes straight up. It's insane to see. And I've seen it.
I mean, that's fine. I don't give a shit.
Mm.
I don't get offended.
Yeah, I did that, Grace, because the plan was for you to have a wrench in the first place, and then boom.
You got too many.
No, I have 5 wrenches, which is a good solid base. So, whoever comes in will feel left out because the whole sea of blue. You got a wrench, RB. You get a wrench. You get a wrench. You get a wrench. I know, but it's always good to have a few, like at least 5 or 6. Grace says, thank you, Mr. G. But Grace likes you.
She was a good paranormal.
Yeah, Grace is good, peeps.
Ow.
It's 71 you have to worry about. She's pure evil.
That's group. She wants to play a game with me.
That's right. Everybody needs to pray for RB's son.
Arby's, I like Arby's.
And her daughter, too. Keep them in our prayers. Because they're both going through some difficult medical issues right now.
I can get you some more food tomorrow, okay? You would have to just survive the night. I know it's hard.
A nice spell for a car to just pop up in your driveway. Good luck with that. Look, it'll probably, if you did that, it'd probably have somebody behind the wheel with it.
It's hard to fill your water.
No problem, RB. You're good peeps. And a horse and buggy. Do you have many of those around? You're in Pennsylvania. You're like Mennonites or Amish around? We have where I live, I think it's maybe 30 to 50-mile range here that we have an Amish village. You know, that you go up and you buy furniture around. Oh, look at RB seeing her hot guys in her house.
Or you'd be a stalker. I need socks for more.
Oh, wow. Have we ever been to Vegas? Yeah, 71. You ever been to Vegas?
ask.
Well, I must have clicked the wrong thing. Yeah, I hit the mute. I muted myself. Hey, Tam, what's up, girl? You didn't get any sound because I didn't have any coming through.
I bet you still don't have sound.
Yeah, I do. I can tell. I have sound.
Oh, that must be locked up there.
Yeah, that's always 10 seconds behind. There's a delay. 10-second delay. Go ahead and put a 1 in chat if you can hear me.
Now it's working.
Huh. Welcome back. Like, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, Kata. Oh, really? Your grandfather was one of the agents who helped track down Bundy? That is cool. Bet 71 would like to hear all about that since she loves her some Ted Bundy.
Did you know that Al and Ted Bundy are not related?
Al and Ted Bundy are not related? You're kidding.
Right.
Wow. Who'd have thunk it? That is so messed up. That is so messed up. I mean, I could just imagine Ted Bundy putting his hand in his pants, too.
Jerry has to have needing socks.
What?
He needs socks.
Okay. He was cooking on the electric chair. Oh, my goodness. He's still cute. Okay. The guy had some whacked out eyes. You're going to tell me, I don't know. I think he was a little, you know. Guy came up to me with those eyes and like, hey, you know, I'm put these books in my car. I'd have to hit him in the head with them. I'm sorry. And you're going to see my 5'11" frame bending down to put anything in a Volkswagen Rabbit, even now, or a Beetle for that matter. Oh my gosh. My mom used to call me Little Juan Epstein. Oh my gosh, I remember that. Anybody remember Vinnie Barbarino? Barbarino. Every man you dated has whacked out eyes. 71. Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. I'll have to show you a picture of Mr. G one day. Uh-huh.
You?
Yeah, huh? You look like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage had a love baby together. No, we're not doing the train, Turtle. We're not doing the train.
I'm pretty sure you got some magical shoes.
I don't know. My sister's the one that said that. My sister's the one who said that you look like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage had a baby together.
About your sisters. That question.
Well, she said you were a pretty man. Oh, really? Tam, your mom used to call you Blossom? You're way prettier than Blossom. Way prettier than Blossom. You're a stone cold fox, girlfriend. I can't put my finger on it, but you remind me of somebody, Tam. Oh, I can't put my finger on it. I will eventually. No, she's really, I mean, seriously, Tam is gorgeous. Turtle. Melania Trump and Ted Bundy had a child. Yeah, you got to watch out for the dudes with the whacked out eyes, where they're bugging out of their head, which means like every dude in my family. I even said that. My sisters and I, like, there's 8 of us, and 2 of my sisters, well, I'll say 3 of us. 3 of my sisters, as well as myself, have said that, like, our oldest brother, we're like, seriously, we were like, we think he's a serial killer, man. Because he had the whacked out eyes, and he was into the whole torturing people thing. Like, when he was a kid growing up, he'd torture animals, steal cars, whatever. Landed him in the Marine Corps. Back then, it was that kind of thing. Really ticked she told you that? Well, just take it as foreplay, honey. A woman tells you that, it's foreplay. The crazier, the better. Oh my gosh. No, thank you. Mr. G is crazy enough for me. That is where I draw the line. Mr. G's crazy. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, really? Really? Foreplay yuck? Wow. I don't tell Mr. G that. I usually tell him, hey, hands off the goods, buddy. There's already 5 kids. No. I sound like Dorothy. Sorry. You like that? Is that better, Turtle? Don't you love me, Turtle? Come on, Turtle. Well, I know how to solve that. Just don't unpack. I get that my son does voices all the time. He's 22 and he does, oh my gosh, he does phenomenal voices. And he used to get me to do, he used to go, he used to do a Peter Griffin voice, and he can do it. And then I go, Peter. He also does a good Quagmire too, and that's creepy. Giggity giggity. I have no clue, Turtle.